Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause on the Roundtable on a Thursday morning, just a day or so before we enter fall. And I think all of us, after the warm weather we've recently had, are anxiously awaiting fall. And it's also interesting, there's only 90 days till Christmas. Have you done your Christmas shopping? Have you baked your Christmas cookies? Time goes by quickly. We are very, very delighted and very fortunate to have with us as our visitor on the Roundtable this morning, our newly formally appointed fire chief, Mark Metleski. And Mark is just a real interesting person, so very committed, so very passionate about quality service that he and his men and women provide to this community. Mark, I always like to start out by asking your background, born where, high school, college, etc., and how long you've been with the fire department.
Well, born and raised here in Murfreesboro.
Oh, a native, huh?
Yes, been here all my life. Went to Bradley School over on Martin Luther King as a kindergarten through 6th grade. Of course, but after that, went to Central Middle. Spent my middle school years there, then went on to Riverdale and graduated from there in '84.
Wow. And right after graduation, what did you do?
Right after graduation, a few months later, started the fire department, February of '85.
At what age did you first say, you know, when I grow up, Mom, when I grow up, Dad, I want to be a firefighter? Was that at 2 or 3 or 4?
Well, there was a young age, because I can remember, actually, I have a picture that my mother took with me in a little swimming pool with a fire truck and pumping water out of it and stuff as a small child. But the actual age, I didn't really think about becoming maybe a firefighter or a public servant until, in my early teens. Kind of got it from my dad. He was the director of civil defense here in Rutherford County.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yes, in the late 70s and early 80s. He helped build one of the first fire trucks here in the county as a volunteer back then. Being with him, going to a lot of calls back then, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
So you were highly influenced by your dad and his
Correct.
public service dedication. And I bet he was very proud of you.
Oh, yes.
No question. Do you have any brothers, sisters?
I have 2 older brothers. One's deceased, but I have an older brother, and we've all still live here.
But he's not in the fire business?
No, sir, he's not.
I gotcha. So you came to the Murfreesboro Fire Department. Were you thinking of other choices, or was it Murfreesboro Fire Department full speed ahead?
Well, I remember having this conversation with my dad, and we talked about police or fire, something in the public safety. And growing up, most of my younger days across the street from the fire department, that's what I was interested in. So it went on from there. I chose the fire department. That's where I've been ever since.
So every time you heard an engine leave with the siren on, your adrenaline started flowing. You said, someday I will be on that engine.
Someday, yeah. And it did work out. After I was hired, I can remember working at that station across the street from my house from time to time, and it was kind of a odd feeling to be working there. As a kid, I used to go over and visit and hang out with the firemen.
Wow. But you could go home for lunch.
Yes, I
Well-
could, or go get them lunch.
Oh, go get them lunch.
on my bicycle.
Absolutely. Describe today what the Murfreesboro Fire Department is. Personnel, number of stations, future plans or thoughts, ideas.
Right now, the fire department, we have 11 stations strategically located all over the city. We have, if we're fully staffed, we're right at about 245 personnel. The future, in our CIP, we're looking at 2, possibly 3 more stations that will be located. Looks like maybe Veterans and 840 in that area, Manchester Highway and Joe B. Jackson. And the 3rd station will be on the New Cherry Lane Loop out in that area somewhere. There's plans for one out that way. Yeah,
You know,
several years away.
having been for many years in city government, everyone loves a fire station except next door. And I can recall planning and city council meetings of proposed sites. I think you're getting a step ahead, which is great. Build before they come rather than build after they've come.
Correct. It's hard to predict, but ways you can predict what you're going to need or what's coming. We got in that situation a few years ago, back around in '06. We were being proactive and built the Station 10 out on Veterans Parkway that sat empty for a few years because once it was completed, the recession hit of '08.
Wow.
And I think at the time there was a subdivision being planned out there that had about 1,400 homes. So we saw the growth going that way, but once the recession hit, the growth stopped. The development never happened, but we already had to be ready for it. And so that station sat vacant for a few years until now it's occupied.
You know, one of the many, many things that you and your men and women in the Murfreesboro Fire Department can be so very proud of, and talk about it, is the insurance rate based on fire that affects every homeowner and to a degree every tenant or resident because it directly affects the cost of housing.
That is correct. We basically, right now we have an ISO 1 rating, which that's the best you can get.
You can't do any better.
Can't do any better. And it affects homeowners. And what I can tell you on homeowner savings is that the difference between a 1 and a 10, if you had an ISO rating of 10 here in the city, your insurance would basically be double in cost at what it is right now. Where it really saves a lot between having the 1 is industrial.
Correct.
Commercial buildings coming in. That's one thing they look at when they look at Murfreesboro. What is your ISO rating? Because with us having a 1, they know it's going to save them a lot of money just to come here.
I would imagine when Buc-ee's was considering the location, I could imagine with a service station like Buc-ee's, the insurance would be a significant amount.
Yes, and that is a big thing. It may not be the deciding factor, but it is one of the factors that commercial companies come in here and choose Murfreesboro.
What's some of the criteria that they look at for us to be on the top of the list, as great as we can be? What are some of the many, and I know there's a numerous number of factors, but some of the primary factors, water flow, fire hydrant,
Yes,
training, response?
all that ties into your rating. If you could lay out a map, put circles, how close your stations overlap, as far as being sure to have the territory covered, your response time, how quickly you can get to a call, your water flows, and that has directly to do with the water department, what kind of systems they put in, how much water they can get out of our hydrants. Having a good system like that, there shouldn't be any hydrants in the city with over 1,500 feet apart. So that's part of it. Our equipment, how we replace our equipment, type of equipment that we do carry on our fire trucks, amount of personnel that we have that respond on our trucks, the amount of personnel that responds to calls. It's
And their training.
The training. I was just looking at some records earlier this week. last year, the fire department itself, we had over 100,000 hours of training.
Wow.
So
Where
the
are they normally trained?
well, we have our Doug Young training facility over on Bridge Avenue, Bridge in 99, and that is one thing when we got our training center that helped us go to a class 1. That's how much training is involved in this rating too. So when we got our Doug Young training facility in place, that benefited us to go to an ISO 1 rating.
When you talk about equipping a station, I'm not sure how many of our listeners on WGNS, because I have found over the years, most people are not aware of what a piece of fire equipment costs. Talk about that, because it's mind-boggling.
It is. Of course, everybody knows how things have went up here in the last couple of years. Right now, we priced some trucks the other day looking for our CIP because we know we're going to have to buy some. Just your normal fire truck without an aerial or anything on it runs about $1.7 million, and that's with no equipment. That's just the truck.
Wow. And you have currently 14?
Well, we have 11 stations with a total of 14 pieces of equipment.
So you can imagine the inventory, the value of inventory right now just in basic fire trucks.
That is, it's a lot.
And then once you have the engine, you've got to start equipping it, which adds a couple of dollars to it, I imagine.
Depending on if you have an aerial or just a regular fire truck, rescue trucks, we have those also. You're looking at somewhere between $750 to $1.2 million to put just the equipment on the truck.
So by the time it's a drive off, you're over $2 million.
Oh, very easily. Very easily.
Wow. Why should a young man or young woman who is beginning to think of a chapter of life of their profession consider going into fire suppression, firefighting, emergency aid, etc.?
Well, the fire service in itself is a family-oriented brotherhood that is unique to be part of.
So it's generation to generation.
Yes, correct. We have, as a matter of fact, we have a young man works with us now. Me and his dad worked together, which had just retired in the last couple of years. But his dad was somebody I worked with, and he's actually our oldest retiree. So I've worked with 3 generations with this, and his name's Clay Walls, and his son works for us now, and then his dad worked for us. So it's pretty neat that I worked with 3 generations.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's a brotherhood like that, and the rewards that you get for being a firefighter when you feel like you have made a difference in somebody's life, because when you come in and get trained to do what we do, then you get to see your training perform.
Put to reality.
Yes, because people call us on their worst day, when their house is on fire, when someone's sick or something, other emergencies going on, and we're bringing the resources to fix that problem. And it's very rewarding when you go over there and you can fix that problem, and you see all your bystanders and everything else around that don't know what to do.
Exactly.
And you're trained to do it. So like I said, it's very rewarding. It's a good career to work here with the city. Obviously for me, I've got 38 years doing it, so the city's
And you're
been
just
good
on
to
a
me.
new chapter, so another 38 years to go.
Maybe 30. I don't know about 38.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk about non-firefighting. I think the story of how paramedic and emergency EMTs and so forth began, is fascinating. You go back to 1960, and the city of Seattle city council meeting, a council member was saying, well, we've got to give these firefighters in our stations something to do. They pet the Dalmatian, they sleep half the time, etc. Why do we have them do as an adjunct activity emergency response? What percentage right now of your calls average out to emergency response versus traditional firefighting?
Our medical calls are over 70% now.
Of the entire operation?
Of our entire operation of calls. We're on track to run probably around 24,000 calls this year here in the city. and about 70% or a little bit more are medical calls. 20% are fire calls, and the other are different calls such as structural collapse, hazmat, or any kind of other emergency that falls in that is not EMS or fire.
Are you also doing inspections?
We do now. Those are not numbers.
Oh, that fall
in
into
the
that
run,
category.
In that
Okay.
category, that's a total different division. We do our fire marshal division they do new construction plan reviews, existing construction. They go out and do fire inspections on those. Of course, they're involved in every building that's been built into new construction from the plan phase all the way till they get their CO.
Wow. Do you have, and this is probably a leading question, but it may be an unfair question, do you have an ideal response time that you try to seek, and it's probably in your ratings as well, response time both for assistance of individuals versus response to building fires? Is there a...
Yeah, we if it's an emergency response, which if someone's calling 911, most of them are emergency response, unless it may just be a public assist to someone needing something for us to assist them with. We in our ISO rating, it's required to be under 5 minutes, which we are under that. And that has to do something with, our dispatching system, how quick they take the call, get the information, get it to us, and our guys responding. We have a certain amount of time that they have to get out of the station after an alarm goes off, but we're under 5 minutes. And our average, if you put in all the averages, it's around 4 minutes and something. I think maybe 4.5 minutes is our average.
And it certainly would be impacted by the time of the day.
Oh,
If you're with traffic in the middle of the day, or you get a 3 a.m. call,
Correct.
response time is certainly going to be somewhat impacted.
There's several factors involved in it because, I can recall myself a call coming out and you're across the street from it, so you got a 5-second response time, which helps overall average.
Would you give people a hint, not a hint, but probably a recommendation, when they call 911 for an emergency? I know many people will be overly excited or upset. They may not think rational. What, to keep the conversation short on 911, what should somebody say?
Typically, our dispatchers, they're trained to deal with these types of situations. They're first of all, they're going to ask for a phone number they're calling from. Try to remember your phone call or phone number and your address. Now, because I think it is close to 90% of 911 calls come in now are from cell phones. And that is...
Would seem to be.
Yes, and that has changed how we have to deal with address, because if you dial from your home, we have the enhanced 911 system, we have your address. But try to remain calm. Be sure you know where you're at. Be able to explain what your emergency situation is. And if our dispatchers seems to think that they need to stay on the line with them, they will, and walk them through a lot of situations. But remaining calm, so we can get that information to better help you, because we have had calls in the past, my house is on fire, hang up.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, that does us no good if we don't know, unless we know. But now the technology, the phones will ping and let us know approximately where that location is if they don't give the exact address.
We're having a most interesting, most educational, and certainly most appropriate conversation this morning with the newly appointed fire chief of our city of Murfreesboro, Chief Mark McCluskey. And Mark has a fountain of knowledge that he's sharing. We'll have some more. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Do you like to shop, to hang out with friends? Do you like to walk around the historic downtown? Sip, Shop, and Stroll is Thursday night, September 21st. Shopping from 5 to 8 p.m. with treats in each business. Multiple restaurants open. Invite a friend or take a date and plan to come downtown.
Clothes, gifts, and home decor.
Downtown has it. Sip, Shop, and Stroll, Thursday, September 21st.
Sip, Shop, and Stroll on the downtown square on the 21st from 5 to 8.
Support local businesses in the historic downtown Murfreesboro.
You know, there's a lot of people out there talking about testosterone. You hear about treatment centers everywhere. But do your homework and go to a provider that you can trust, one that's been doing it for years. I recommend Low T Center on Medical Center Parkway in Murfreesboro. That's where I get my levels checked. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy. Walk in, take a simple blood test, and then with their on-site lab, you get the results in 25 minutes. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, weight gain, or loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Low T Center is not like a typical doctor's office where you have to wait a long time to see the doctor. Low T Center is concierge medicine exclusively for men. They have affordable and convenient options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments that ship directly to your home each month. No need to drive to the center for weekly visits. Right now at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your testosterone level tested. So what are you waiting for? Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Finding that missing shin guard. Remembering whether it's a home or away game. Getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things. Like not being that fan.
Oh, come on, Ref!
That's simple human sense.
Rayburn Insurance in Smyrna.
Come see me, Rick Hall, at Rayburn Insurance in downtown Smyrna today.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the law offices of John Day. I've lived and worked as a lawyer in Middle Tennessee for over 30 years, and to me, every single day has been an honor. That's why our firm is so involved with community programs like bicycle helmet giveaways and our Safe Ride Home program. At the law offices of John Day, we're not just looking to make donations. We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. The 5-week Garden Basics class begins on Thursday, September the 28th, and continues at 6 o'clock in the evening for 5 Thursday evenings there at the Lane Agri Park. You've heard us talking about how critically low the Red Cross blood drive is. It dropped 20% across the nation last month. Get behind the Bleed Blue Beats WKU Red Cross blood drive at MTSU next week, Monday through Wednesday, September 25th through 27th, 11 in the morning until 6 in the evening, and that's at the MTSU Recreation Center. Blood donors have parking right by the door. You make an appointment online, and you're in and out quickly. Again, the Bleed Blue Beats WKU Red Cross blood drive is next week, Monday through Wednesday, September 25th through 27th. A lot of interest in beekeeping. The Rutherford County Beekeepers Association meets at 7 o'clock on the first Monday evening of each month, right there at the Lane Agri Park, 315 John R. Rice Boulevard. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Good Neighbor weather. Skies will become mostly sunny here for this afternoon with a high in the mid-80s. East winds of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear, low 59. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 61.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's downtown Murfreesboro office on North Walnut is closed and staff relocated to the new central office on New Salem Highway. Get assistance or make payments there or at the St. Andrews Drive location.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Hello again, Bill Krause on the Roundtable on a thrilling Thursday morning. We are having a highly informative, and I find it extraordinarily interesting, visit with our newly appointed fire chief for the city of Murfreesboro, Mark McCluskey. Tell the folks, Mark, that who your fellow graduate was from high school, and you both rode motorcycles together.
We was talking earlier during the break. It was Mike Bowen, the police chief.
So, wow, a Mike and a Mark on a Harley?
Well, back then we were on what they call the crotch rockets, speeding through town probably, or wow. I shouldn't say that, but the fun, fast motorcycles.
It would be interesting to see a reunion on cycle coming down around the square and with the two of you.
Yeah, we'll probably have to have a trike now with three-wheeler.
I think that'd be cute. Let's talk for a while on rescue. Let's talk first, what's the relationship between Murfreesboro and Rutherford County in terms of responding to both medical and rescue efforts, some of the history, some of the coordination, some of the backup, some of the support?
Okay. The rescue part of it, years ago, Murfreesboro relied on, the rescue squad and the civil defense to do rescues. When I say rescues, extrication, I should say.
And your dad was?
That's back when my
civil
dad
defense?
was over. Yes.
Wow.
And but during that time, that was both volunteer services that would come if we had a car wreck and needed somebody extricated out of it. So January the 1st, 2003, we were prepared to go online and started doing our own full-service extrication department, which now it's grown into 3 heavy rescue trucks that is prepared to do just about any type of extrication, from motor vehicles all the way up to commercial vehicles, even to train derailments and all that that would go on. But back then they would come in. Now we run to all of our own calls within the city limits. Now the county also has extrication trucks that they run in the county that's run by their fire department, that's part of the EMS division. But as far as medical calls, the city is within the county, Rutherford County, so the county provides the EMS service, and we basically assist them with medical calls within the city. There's few factors that makes that better for our citizens. Response times. Sometimes our response times are a little bit better, and the calls that make where time makes a difference. It's a very key factor. The manpower. Not always is 2 people enough on an ambulance to take care of the call in hand. Just like a typical code, which is CPR in progress. You got to remember, you got to have someone that drives the ambulance. You got to have 2 or 3 people in the back working on the patient to give them a better success rate of survival. And that would be breathing for them, somebody pushing the drugs, somebody doing chest compressions. So it's better for the citizens to have more people on the scene. It gives them a better treatment and service.
And that explains, which people, unless we explain it, have very little idea, where you might have an engine as a backup to a medical call.
Yes. We hear that a lot. Why do we need so many people on the call? And it may just be a simple call to where whatever happened, where 2 people in with the EMS could take care of it. But you never know what you're going to. It's just because if someone said they fell and broke their ankle or broke an arm, what made them fall? Did they trip over something? Did they have a heart attack to make them fall? You just don't never know what you're going to. And we want to be prepared to provide the best service that we can with the personnel coming until we find out what we have going on.
What's the normal process, I'll call it the systems process? Somebody calls 911, they're feeling severe chest pains. The dispatcher picks up the call. What does the dispatcher normally do? Who does the dispatcher initially call?
Typically that call would come in through our 911 dispatch center that's located over on Highland at the PD building. When that call comes in, as soon as we find out exactly what is going on as far as a medical call, that is entered to our CAD system that shoots the call out to the station by their location and tells them what they're doing. It's all automated. Also, it sends it over to EMS, to their dispatch, for them to get it.
So it's a double. It's a double notice.
Yes, to get their units en route. And once we're en route, our dispatcher will find out more information and relay that to us on the way.
Do many people think that in terms of a profession, they'd like to be a dispatcher? Or is a dispatcher just a step upward to other things?
Yeah, that is actually, a dispatcher is a job in itself, which there is. I think we're having a shortage right now. We're needing to hire a few. I think as a matter of fact, I had a 911 board meeting last week, and they're having a job fair at that facility for just dispatchers for the city, here, Laverne, Smyrna, county dispatchers. That's going on. I think it's this week. As a matter of fact, I wish I had the date on it. But I'm pretty sure it's this week. They got signs out that you can see. But all of our dispatch centers, I think right now, are a little short-handed, and it's a good career.
Oh, exactly.
It's not for everybody. It can be kind of stressful, but it's a good career. As a matter of fact, I have a sister-in-law that works for the county. Has been doing it for over 30 years.
Oh, okay. She's almost your record of years service. I would imagine, and we just a week and a half ago, observed the anniversary of 911. And I would imagine, besides the huge tragedy it was for 3,000 families and so forth, firefighting. And it probably was the worst day in the history of American firefighting, of the loss of the firefighting professionals from 911. Does that come back to memory of the men and women?
It does. It's
because you were with the department at
yes,
that time.
Yes, sir. I remember I was at Station 9 on Case and Lane the day that it happened. I remember sitting there watching the news of it happening live. And as a matter of fact, the day of 9/11 last week, I was meeting with our recruits, and some of them were just 1 and 2 years old.
Oh, that's mind-boggling.
And some of them weren't even born.
Yes, that's mind-boggling for me.
So with them not seeing it happen live like a lot of the firefighters my age did, they don't have. I don't think they had the effect it had on me, on them. I remember that day well. It's just, I was a captain at the time. Some of my guys were coming. It's like, what will we do? And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, this is very overwhelming. That's going to take a lot of men to do this. And just some of the comments that we talked about, that's kind of personal to me, and the feelings. And it was a very emotional day just to
relive it, if nothing else.
Yes, and just understand the impact of it and what it has how it's changed our jobs today, how it's actually changed the world.
Has it affected training? Is training different today than it was pre 9/11?
There's a few things that that come from that. Yes, radio systems have changed. There's some mandates come down on that. It all come from 9/11. It's several things that changed in that.
I would imagine, of course, I'm a pure optimist of life and always look for the good things, but I'm also a realist in life that knows sometimes bad things can occur. Having been a city manager in a city when a commercial aircraft crashed in the city, the training and simulation of a major catastrophe such as a airplane crash in Murfreesboro, do you prepare for contingencies such as that? Hopefully that they will never happen.
We do, and to a certain effect. You can always train on certain things that you can predict that may happen, that may not ever happen, and it's hard to say on that type of situation, the training we have, would we be prepared for that day? You hope we say we do, but that's something very overwhelming. I don't think I don't think anybody expected the buildings to come crashing down.
Exactly.
They just maybe treated it as a large commercial fire. We got to go up here and put it out. We know we're going to have some lives lost. Of course, when the towers collapsed, that's one of most lives were lost, or all the lives basically were lost. So you like those things, you train for the worst and hope for the best. It would be a very overwhelming situation. It would be something we definitely need help with here in the city if something like that were to occur here.
Well, I certainly know that you have a great mutual aid relationship
We
with
do.
not only the county but other fire departments,
Yes,
both
sir.
within the county as well as, I'm sure, outside the county.
That is correct. We that goes back to we have done deployments around the state, and of course in those situations, if we needed something like that, the favor would be returned to us. People would come and help us out in something that dramatic.
Going back to earlier discussion about equipment, fire equipment, and again, I found this so interesting, somewhat depressing, but so interesting, how long it takes for a fire engine to be built once the order is put through.
Yes, back in normal days, if
No,
you want to
if
call
there
it
was
that,
such a thing, sure.
You could typically get a fire truck ordered, place your order, and get it in less than a year. Of course, COVID hit, the supply chain, how it affected that, then it went up to over 2 years. And we still hadn't really recovered from that. Then now we've had some regulations that went in place in California that affects all commercial trucks over 26,000 pounds, I think it is, that's affected us again. So now we're up to 4 years to get a piece of equipment.
So you sign a order, and you're hopeful that it's going to be delivered in 4 years.
Correct.
So that means with 2 or 3 new stations on the drawing boards and on the development, you almost have to get budget approval for the $2 million plus to set aside for an order that will be in 2027.
Yes, sir. That's in our CIP meeting that was discussed how we need to do that. And of course, you can build the building a lot quicker, or the station, than you can get the equipment in. But we're going to try to work with that and try to make it come out to where the timing is right. But we do have standby equipment. If we get the station completed and we're waiting on a new truck, then we could put a piece of standby equipment in that station to open it and run it until our new equipment comes in.
You know, that just brings back a memory of many, many years ago. First job I had as a city manager was a small, very, very poor community in Southern California, and they had a volunteer fire department with 2 full-time people to, in a sense, supervise it, and they had 4 pieces of equipment, 3 pieces weren't running. You go into a city, what's wrong? Why can't you get it started? Oh, we can't get parts, or we can't get help, or what have you. So we have a fire department with 1 piece of equipment that can roll out. Very embarrassing. Going back to traditional fire problems, what would you say are the primary causes of a house fire, not even a commercial or industrial, of a house fire? When you get a call, fire report, is it basically an electrical problem, a heater problem?
Well,
smoking, somebody let a cigarette burn?
Those are all big factors in causing house fires, but the number one thing is unattended cooking.
Wow.
Now, you were talking about heaters. Of course, with the weather changing right now, getting a little bit cooler.
Absolutely.
Some of the old heaters, the baseboard styles, it's like, people will push furniture up against them during the summer because they're not coming on. Don't forget about it. And that thermostat in there, if it gets so cold, it's going to kick on. And that'll cause fires. Have a lot of that. And a lot of times electrical. Overloading a circuit with using extension cords, stuff like that. But unattended cooking is one of our main causes of house fires.
Wow. We're having I hope you all agree, folks, having a phenomenally interesting visit with our newly appointed fire chief for the city of Murfreesboro, Mark Butlusky. And we will return for our 3rd and final segment in just a moment. Stand by.
I'm Rodney French from French's Shoes and Boots in Murfreesboro. I'd like to invite you over to our hometown store, 1837 South Church Street. French's Shoes and Boots has been serving Rutherford County with the best selection of work boots, western boots, and a great selection of shoes and accessories. Our bargain room is full of famous brand shoes and boots up to 90% off mall prices. Brands like Clark's, Merrill, Justin, and Ariat. Tons of shoes and tons of brands, all at super great prices.
French's Shoes and Boots.
1837 South Church Street in Murfreesboro.
Cover My Assets Insurance Group.
Is your life insurance tied to your job? Call us today at Cover My Assets Insurance Group, and we can find you a private policy that you own rather than being tied to your job. We have many options and coverage types to choose from. Call us today at 615-345-0411 or find us online at covermyassets.com. Protect yourself and your loved ones from the unexpected. That's covermyassets.com.
Here at Bud's Tire, we make buying Michelin tires simpler. I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We offer a straightforward approach to service, including nationwide warranties with every purchase. Stop in today to see our full lineup of Michelin and BF Goodrich tires. For whatever you drive, Michelin and BF Goodrich have a tire to fit any need. Bud's Tire Pros, hassle-free, guaranteed. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Be a part of the upcoming Middle Point Landfill Open House on Wednesday, September 20th at MTSU in the North Commons, outside the Student Union Building. Our Open House series provides a behind-the-scenes look at Middle Point's operations and our role in the community. What's our approach to managing waste? We hope to have the opportunity to answer that question for you and perhaps other questions you may have at our next open house on the 20th of this month.
The Middle Point Open House. Learn more at middlepointlandfill.com.
This is Mike Cutter, owner of the award-winning family-owned home care agency Honey Hill Home Care, the non-medical home care agency for seniors in Murfreesboro. Don't let worry consume your family. Experience the difference at Honey Hill Home Care. Check us out online, honeyhillhc.com.
If you want to get some barbecue, I'll tell you how to do it. Head for the Slick Pig and you're into it. Just walk through the door at 1920 East Main and your nose will send a message right to your brain. Say, smells good, and barbecue. Slick Pig. They got ribs and beans. Got spicy wings. Slick Pig.
A Murfreesboro tradition. 1920 East Main.
Come by Splashies during our creepy Halloween-themed Clown Town, The Awakening, for a frightful car wash experience that will scare the whole family. Splashies. We look forward to giving you a spooky clean.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
This is Bill Krause in the third and final segment of the Roundtable. We have a phenomenal guest, and first time I had the pleasure of meeting him, Murfreesboro can be very, very proud of our new fire chief, Mark McCluskey. Hometown boy, elementary school, high school, began with the fire department after he graduated from high school, almost to the 40-year mark with the fire department, 30 to go after that. We're really working on your life plan. So, Chief Mark McCluskey, welcome back on WGNS.
Thank you.
Do people really pay attention to the need to continually inspect their smoke detectors?
A lot of people do, but I think there's some that don't. Because now we do have a service we go out if someone cannot afford smoke detectors, or we put up the battery type. It's not the type that you would want in a brand new home because they're not wired in series, which codes requires them to be like that now. But yes, they need to change the batteries twice a year. We usually tell them when the time goes back or forward, that's a good time to change your battery to make sure you have a good fresh battery in it each year. But we do have a lot of fires that we go into and find out that the smoke detectors were not working.
Or they even were disconnected.
Yes, or disconnected. A lot of times that happens. One's chirping. That chirping is for a reason. It needs attention. It needs a new battery or something's going on with it. It don't need to be pulled down and disconnected.
Or you don't have to think there's a bird in the closet.
Yes.
I might hear that chirp, and what's that bird doing in the closet?
Yeah, and it's the difference between a chirping and the alarm going off. You'll be able to tell the difference.
Should everybody, both residential as well as non-residential, have a plan of evacuation, have a plan if something occurs? Go back and rescue things, or just evacuate, especially those with children? Do you have an emergency plan?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm reading to the kids tomorrow, and the book that I chose was about fire drills and safety at the house. But yes, they do that, and we try to. Well, we do. We get into our schools and teach that. Encourage the kids to go home and teach it to their parents, because it's the main thing is, when you have fire in your house, is to have an escape route, if not one, two, a meeting place, something that's like a mailbox or a big tree in the yard, something that's going to be pretty much permanent, where everybody goes and meets. Do not, once you come out of the house, do not go back in it. I've seen several over my years where they were out here and they went back in to get a briefcase, or I can remember that. The reason that stands out, we had a gentleman said, I need to go get my briefcase, and he went to get it, and he passed away in the fire with the briefcase right next to him, and the briefcase had nothing of value in it. Pets, same thing. A lot of times the pets are going to find a different way out. They're going to hide to get away from it. Then once we come in and put the fire out, we can rescue them then. If they don't come out with you, don't go back and get them. And the reason that's important is when we pull up on a house fire and it's actually burning and the people are outside, we know everybody's out. If we go find or meet them at their meeting place and there's still one person in there, it's going to change our efforts.
Dimension, sure.
Yes, totally, to work for that rescue. Not saying that we wouldn't do it if we didn't know, but if we don't know, that's the mode we're in too. If we always treat a house fire, someone's in there, because everybody don't have the same schedule.
Correct.
There's things we look for, the indicators that show people are at the house, of course, time of day, cars and driveways, stuff like that. But everybody don't work first shift. So once you're out of the house, meeting spot, we know if anybody's still in there, and that's a tremendous help to us when we arrive on the scene.
But dealing, let's say, specifically with senior citizens who may be disabled in the house, or may become totally confused of what was going on, is that a whole different agenda to work with?
Well, it's not a total different agenda, because we go in with that mindset. There's indicators on that. If you see a wheelchair ramp at the house, there's a possibility somebody's in a wheelchair in this house. A lot of times the information that somebody has a disability is logged into our CAD system, and we know that before we arrive. That this person is disabled, or this person is bedridden, or we have that information when we enter our reports. If we go over there, the next time it shows up, or other ways of putting it in also. So, but not always, but we do know of some. So we're always in that mindset of rescue if it's a fire. And that's why you have to treat every fire until you find out.
Well, I always recall in the recruitment and the testing and the evaluation of candidates for firefighting, the one thing that was the norm that had to be evaluated, the split ability to think.
Yes.
To size up something and decide in the matter of seconds, not say, well, let me take 5 minutes to think about it.
Yes.
Split-second decision-making based upon split-second analysis of what you're dealing with.
That is correct, and I've seen it over the years. The firefighters that have that capability and are good at it, normally they will make good captains that lead other people to do it. But we start them out young like that in our training. That's what we got to train them to be critical thinkers and make decisions quick, because, like you said, we don't have time to sit there. It's life and death. You got to be able to make that decision and go with it. I heard in a recruit class one time, the instructor come in and said, you're a firefighter now, so when you get a call at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's unicorns running down Main Street, you better know how to deal with it.
Exactly.
And that's what you got to do. You got to come in and utilize what's going on and eliminate the situation.
And how does a firefighter wake up on a split second? You know, some of us, alarm goes off and, oh, okay, it's going to take me 5 minutes to get out of bed, 10 minutes to brush my teeth, etc. But what happens, you know, that alarm goes off and you've got to be up and dressed and ready mentally as well as physically.
Our standards as far as getting out of the station, which is plenty of time, on fire calls, it's 90 seconds.
Wow.
And that includes getting the call, getting down to your truck, putting your equipment on, being in your seatbelt, and out of the station.
90 seconds.
So which we typically beat that time all the time. And a medical call is less than 60, because on medical calls you're not putting your equipment on. And that sounds like a lot of time, but you got to remember, we're sitting there taking this call in, making sure we know where we're going. We got to get 4 to 5 people on this piece of equipment and get prepared and take off. So it's less than a minute.
You know what's so sad? You mentioned earlier with fire drills that youngsters at school have to go through fire drills. How this world has changed. That one of the schools I teach at is Motlow, and Motlow just went through the other day an intruder alarm. And that was lock down the classes. What you do with your students, lock the door, have them avoid any window or view contact, shades down, and so forth. You know, when I was growing up, if we ever thought of an intruder alert into a school facility, they'd think we were, quote, imagining things. Do you get involved in anything of that activity of an intruder?
We do. It's active shooters, what we call it.
Okay.
We cross train with the police departments, the county and the city. We have a plan in place. Now, active shooter has changed over the last few years. Now, used to we'd go in and eliminate, or the police department would go in and eliminate the threat. Then we'd come in and treat the wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're training and have trained to go in with PD, and they are eliminating the threat, and the injured we treat as we're there and get them out of the building. So it's come such a national problem. There's constant training on it all the time. Just about a month ago, we had before school started back, actually, one of our elementary schools, we had about a week training out there where we went through scenarios with the police department and EMS and fire department going in. You know, they're doing eliminating the threat, and we're treating the wounded.
Well, and that, what you just mentioned, I think Murfreesboro can be so proud of the excellent working relationship between the fire and the police departments. And not only the fact that the two chiefs are high school graduate compadres and motorcycle compadres, just the mere fact that the men and women of both departments integrate so well in terms of a common emergency.
Yes.
Do you have any one bit of advice that you would give to our 150,000 citizens, whether it's a medical alert, a rescue alert, or a fire alert, that they should be somewhat mindful of, keep in the back of their mind, make sure their family knows, make sure their neighbors know?
Yeah, there's several things I could say. Medical calls, a lot of times people don't know their history, their medical, the people that's taking care of them, not the patient themselves. Know that information. Know where you're located at. Like with the cell phones, I always do this with my kids when they're traveling. I was like, what mile marker you're at? They have no idea. Know where you're at.
Know the closest intersection.
Exactly. Know your house address. You'd be surprised people that have called and forget their house address.
Well,
they're
upset too, and they're traumatized.
And another thing I'd like to point out too is emergency traffic. People need to remember, move to the right. Don't slam on your brakes because you see a fire truck coming up behind you or a police car. The law is move to the right, yield to the right. We have a lot of issues with that with our traffic issue here in Murfreesboro. We have several streets of people just panic, throwing the brakes, and we're stuck.
Yes, yes.
Just because you see a fire truck coming up behind you does not mean you got to yank it to the right or slam on your brakes. Just casually, nonchalant, move over and get out of the way.
And one of the real issues with that is they have the windows closed because of the air conditioning.
Yes.
And they have their sound system up at a 90 decibel,
Mhm.
so they cannot hear a thing until that air horn is right behind you.
That
And
is
will-
true.
That will
And
kind of panic them.
That is true, and that happened to me just the other day. I was like,
Really?
"Why is this car slowing down?" And there it is. It's a fire truck coming, and I'm like, "That would
Oh.
have been bad." The fire truck hit the fire chief in his own car.
Please don't tell me you were in your fire chief car.
No, I was
You were
not.
in your own car.
But it proves the fact that cars now are better made. They're more soundproof.
Absolutely.
More distractions. So.
It has been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I hope you come back to visit us in the near future. Keep us posted of progress of growth, progress of development, progress of new technology. And with the final aspiration, give a shout out to your men and women of who just really are not always the silent heroes. We don't thank our first responders as much as we should. And anytime you see a firefighter, anytime you see a police officer, anytime you see an emergency service person, really mean it. Thank them for the job well done. Chief Mark McCluskey, Fire Chief, City of Murfreesboro, congratulations, and may you have many years of great, great success. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS.